elbow.
If that is true.
And then Michael Kay said they are now looking for a fifth starter because they don't like any of those fifth starters, even Todd Lilly or even Adrian Hernandez. And guess what name has surfaced?
What name?
He has been with the Yankees before.
How about Whitey Ford?
No, Sterling Hitchcock.
Sterling Hitchcock. Where are they going to get him from?
San Diego.
And you think it's going to be done just like that, Jerome?
I think they're going to have to do something, Steve.
Well, I'm not so sure that...
And I got a question on two players that are hurt right now.
Yeah.
Do you know when Spencer's coming back and Hernandez is coming back?
No, unfortunately, if I get a chance to talk to Sweeney a little bit later, maybe I'll have the opportunity to ask him those questions. Spencer, I cannot tell you, and the same with Hernandez as well.
Okay, I was listening to, the program on Inside the NBA?
Yeah.
That's on Channel 8? I was shocked to hear that the center from Houston wants to come to the Knicks or to the Heat for the exception. If you were the Knicks, would you do that since Longley possibly might retire? And if Johnson retires, does the Knicks get to take do they have an exception for him? And also, what would you trade for Weber? And I also heard that Marbury wants out of the Nets because there's a problem between him and the other forward. And I think I bet you he would love to come to Knicks. Would you trade Charlie Ward, a first-round pick, and to get Marbury in here, and then to get Weber in here, I would sign Houston, trade Houston, and Thomas and Postel, and have Weber and Camby in the starting rotation, and then you could have, what's-his-name coming off the bench. And you put Jackson on the bench, and you put Murray as the starting point, and then you put Screenwell after two. That's a championship team.
How's your girlfriend?
Fine. I just want you to answer me that question.
Which one?
The Knicks question.
Which one?
Do you think the Knicks will sign their backup center from Houston because they're going to lose two players? I don't think Johnson will be back next year. And do you think they're going to try to trade for Weber and try to trade for Marbury?
Well, I can see Weber, but I think Larry Johnson is going to be back next year. And once I sort out all of your questions, if I have time between now and 1 o'clock, I'll try to answer them all. It is 11:19 and 5 seconds. It is the time on a Wednesday night on the Fan, New York City. And just in the nick of time, it is time for 2020.
Actually, first, it is time to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Well, that's nice of you.
I was not here yesterday.
That's no excuse.
I was off.
You should have certainly made the call.
I was off. That means I'm off from you as well.
You could have put a card with some cash. People that for him, we do wish him a happy birthday.
Picture a man sitting alone in his room. No family, no friends, just a phone in the sports section. A man obsessively pondering the fate of the Yanks, Jets, and Knicks. His is a dimension of sight, of sound, but of no mind. There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you, kid.
Thank you.
I have
birthday
neckties
tonight.
What's that?
It was not a happy birthday from what I seen.
Well,
from that Yankee game.
Well, Andy Pettit pitched a pretty good game.
I'm not talking about that.
Sometimes you got to give credit to the other guy.
I want to talk about Bernie Williams here.
All right.
What's wrong with him? I think the time off from seeing his father has affected his swing.
Well, it may take him a while to get the timing. But tonight,
did you see the article in the in yesterday's Newsday?
Yes. No, I did not.
By John Heyman?
No, I did not.
Possible trade that the Yankees are working on?
And what trade is that?
Kiesler and Coleman going to Tampa Bay for Gerald Williams.
I have heard about that.
What do you think?
Yes, if you can do that, you do it.
And I think they need a right-handed reliever. And some of the guys mentioned the guy from Montreal or the guy from Florida. Which one?
Well, you're not talking about any closer. You're not talking about Urbina, and you're not talking about...
No, Dory would be a setup guy to replace Nelson, which they never should have got rid of.
Wait, calm down already. Your Yankees, Jerome, are only 2 games out.
But they need a right-handed reliever, and they need some guys off the bench, because I don't trust Spencer with that knee, and I don't like Henry Rodriguez.
Yeah, well, Henry Rodriguez not even available. I guarantee you, Jerome, and you should sleep well on your birthday night. I guarantee you that when the Yankees need to fix something, they go about getting who they need to fix it.
I think they should do it now.
Well, they might be working on it, Jerome. But I would imagine, and happy birthday, Jerome, and many happy returns to you. If happy is the operative word with Jerome, because you want him to enjoy the night already, you want him to enjoy his life, you want him to enjoy the Yankees. There is so much to enjoy, Jerome. But not tonight as the Yankees lose to the Twins at the Hefty Bag in Minnesota 2-1. 12:33 and 30.
I got a question, and maybe you could...
And by the way, I heard you on with Mike Francesa.
They cut me off.
Yes, you traitor. See, God was punishing you for calling him.
Yeah, they cut me off too soon before I got to say anything.
You got to leave Bernie Williams alone, Jerome.
True, I agree with that. But the bullpen. Do you think... First of all, I want to know your opinion. What would it take to bring Jason Isringhausen here? I heard he's on the block.
Well, only if the Oakland A's, Jerome, by the trading deadline are going to be out of it. Then you might find the Oakland A's getting rid of Jason Isringhausen and maybe Johnny Damon and Giambi as well. I don't think so, not now. It's almost midnight, maybe I should say 11:59 and 45 seconds on a Tuesday night, soon to be a Wednesday morning. WFAN, New York City. Steve Summers here, you there. You know from the number. And Joe Boningo at 1. WFAN, New York.
Sports Radio 66. The Fan, WFAN.
The Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
Sound, but of no mind. There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
I love you, Steve.
The man has become a legend.
In my own time.
In your own mind.
Listen, I'm going to propose a trade for the Knicks if they can't get Weber.
Everybody listens to you.
And Scott Layton, if you're listening, I make this trade in a second.
And Scott may call up and start talking with you.
Ward, Thomas, and Houston for Bibby and their power forward, and then you try to move up to get a center in the draft. What do you think?
No, I don't think they're going to move Bibby at all.
I think they're going to move him. You know why? Because the team is going to be moving someplace else.
Yeah, that's right, and he's part of the reason that it'll attract some fans, whether they move to Memphis or any other place.
Because they have to get bigger, and they have to get a point guard. They don't do those things, Scott Lane has to be fired.
Well, they tried to get Bibby during right before the trading deadline, and were unsuccessful. They would love to have Bibby, there's no question about it, but that is one of the few drawing cards that...
You want Jason Williams instead? With Weber?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bobby Jackson. I thought Bobby Jackson, who was sharing duties with Jason Williams in Sacramento, I thought that was the guy you were pushing.
Yeah. I pushed for both of them.
Well, they need a point guard. Well, you're not happy with Mark Jackson?
No.
You're not happy with the 36-year-old?
And I'm not happy with Charlie Ward. He's got to go.
He'll be gone. Don't worry about that.
And Johnson has to retire, sign Jerome Williams, and then Longley has to retire.
Well, what about Chris Webber?
I want Chris Webber here.
You want everybody.
And on the Yankees, what is the possibility of the Yankees getting the Montreal reliever without giving up any good talent?
Urbina, that remains to be seen, but they have a closer in Rivera.
I know, but they need a setup man, and they need another hitter.
Urbina, not the setup man that would, and he also comes at a decent price, by the way. The Yankees, not that the money ever gets in the way.
Well, what George wants to do. It's true.
Yeah, but Urbina...
What about a hitter?
Urbina is the closer, not really the setup. What about a hitter? Yeah, that's all very possible.
I heard Trombley's name mentioned.
Who?
The guy from Baltimore.
Are you giving up... who with Baltimore are you talking about?
Trombley.
Well, he's possible. That's a possibility. But I would think that the Yankees, by the way...
And I'll make this quick. What about a hitter?
Well, the hitter, I think, Jerome, and thanks, Jason Giambi. People think maybe the Mets can get a hold of him. Giambi would love to come to the Yankees.
That I think the Yankees should bring up.
Who's that?
The kid Perez.
The outfielder?
Right.
Where are you going to put him, Jerome?
Center field.
The Yankees purchased the contract of outfielder Roberto Perez from Columbus.
Talking to Brian Cashman, general manager of the Yankees on the Fan.
I did hear that, and Jerome, this one's for you, baby.
Sports Radio 66, WFAN, New York.
Getting more than just a chuckle out of Susan Waldman is Brian Cashman, Bernie, listening to Jerome. And Robert Perez was the guy they called up and kept, of course, because Clay Bellinger goes to Columbus and Robert Perez is still on the roster. We'll get to Jerome and the rest of this fancy show. You bring to the radio station, including your passion. And I'm going to tell you something. That is quite a feather in your cap. Because I was listening to Jody and Susan on the day that was all going on when they had Brian Cashman on. And I said, that a way to go, Jerome. And that is a wonderful thing because you influenced Brian Cashman, GM of the New York Yankees.
Maybe maybe I'm a mind reader.
I think they ought to hire you.
Okay.
That's one way to have them stop you from calling them if they hire you.
Maybe that's why they haven't answered my letters.
Say again, Jerome?
Maybe that's why they haven't answered my letters.
Exactly. Jerome entertaining himself.
Okay. First things first. Did you see the little article in the New York Times by Murray Chaz today?
No. I read Joe LaPointe, though.
In Inside Pitch, it says the Yankees are talking to Montreal about Urbina by sending 2 minor league pitchers.
What would you do with Rivera?
No, Urbina would be the setup man.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Why not?
No,
They need a right-handed setup man.
Well, a setup man. Yeah, well, I thought you said that Rivera would become the setup man for Urbina.
No.
Yeah.
And they said Wells, they had a, you know the guy who writes for not Sports Illustrated, New York Sports or something like that?
That's okay. Well, that's okay. What's the article that you're referring to talk about?
Okay, it says... And I heard Bobby V say today on Mike and Chris's show, he does not want Wells.
No. Bobby Valentine did not say that. Bobby Valentine said he could give a damn, and he used that word. He said, I don't give a damn what Wells thinks. If he could help us win baseball games, that's all I care about.
I think he's going to end up with the Phillies or the Atlanta Braves or Boston, and don't be surprised if George gets him back.
After having Brian Cashman take his advice, Jerome now is unplugged.
I heard, I don't know if you heard Gammons the other day, he thinks that if San Francisco falls out of the race, that we're going to see Mr. Bonds in the Bronx.
Nah, he's going to probably stay with the Giants because they're going to pay him.
No, they're not.
Well, if Bonds wants to get to 600 home runs, he'll get to 600 home runs, Jerome, a lot faster if he stays at a ballpark.
Yeah, but I think he'd be don't you think he'd be a better part-time DH?
A part-time DH? No. Bonds still figures he can play left field for at least another 3 or 4 more years. Now,
don't be surprised if George goes after him for right field next year. And on the Knicks, did you see the article that...
I'm not going to call you Jerome anymore. I'm going to call you Karnak.
Did you see the article on...
I only read Hondo.
The article
and start reading Hondo, who's the best writer in all of New York. Stop reading these other guys. They're putting bad thoughts in your head. I want you to read Hondo.
No.
Jerome, I have to go. Jerome is priceless, and I've now as Bernie, the Yankee fan who called a little while ago, to take a shot at Jerome. Jerome is now becoming so notable in all of New York that other callers now are jealous and envious of Jerome because Jerome is the only caller that we know of who has influenced the general manager of the New York Yankees. And Greg is calling from South River.
Hey, Stevie. How are you?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
Jerome, he just kills me. Barry Bonds, best player in baseball, part-time DH. I mean, come on. Give me a break.
You think he's the best player in baseball?
Steve, come on, please. He's surly, but he's the best player in baseball. I'll take him over Griffey any day.
Wait a
listen,
minute.
in the beginning of the
Sports. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
Steve, I want to talk about the Yankee game tonight, and I want to talk about Brian Cashman.
Yes, sir.
First of all, where was justice going when there was 1 man out after the Yankees had scored 1 run and Tito coming up with a man on second? Where was he going?
I didn't see the play. So
he got picked off.
Uh-oh.
Where was he going? That's the first thing.
I understand.
Second of all, they got to get another DH. Justice had the bases loaded, a chance to score at least a couple of runs to tie the game.
Well, Rich Rodriguez, he's a fine...
A mid-bum, and he can't get one stinking hit.
Jerome, calm down.
And they need to get Paul O'Neill. They never should have signed that guy. They should have signed Gonzalez.
What are you saying about Paul O'Neill?
They never should have signed him.
Paul O'Neill hasn't helped the Yankees win this year. He
What's he hitting?
He didn't have that 2-run home run in the 9th inning to tie up a game. He didn't beat Pedro Martinez yesterday at the stadium.
What's he hitting, Steve?
Doesn't matter.
He's hitting 258. 258. That don't cut it, baby. And they need to go out and get a right-handed reliever. I don't know if... I think they're going to end up with Urbina.
Well, they might, Jerome, but...
And I think they need another starting pitcher.
Like who?
Another 2 starting pitcher. Maybe Sidney Ponson and maybe Wells.
Well...
2 starting pitchers. If they... Cashman, if you're listening... You better do these things because this team is not making the playoffs if they don't get another hitter. And I want Barry Bonds in here. I don't care what it takes to get that guy in here at the trading deadline.
Do you think Brian Cashman...
And I have spoken, and I will speak to you later on.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. And you would think already because Jerome's not going to get to sleep now, because how could you sleep when you get worked up like that? And no doubt he's sweating, he's in a lather, and really you have to be concerned about his health. We think it's wonderful that he has the passion and that he cares as much as he does already. But is it worth the high blood pressure? Is it worth, God forbid, a heart attack? And what we want Jerome to do, if he's still listening already, is to calm down and relax and have a cup of warm milk and get to sleep. There's another game tomorrow. There's a long season ahead to enjoy. You sometimes wonder, just off the top of my head, tip of my tongue, if Jerome actually enjoys watching the Yankees win, or does he just feel relieved when the Yankees win? Because we certainly know how Jerome is when the Yankees don't win. 718-937-6666 is the number to call. Rick is calling from Poughkeepsie.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, Rick. How are you?
I'm trying to recover from that last caller. He's got me all...
Ed, you're entering the Jerome Zone.
I'm going to say something about what Sweeney said.
Okay.
I totally disagree with him. They need a starting pitcher.
Okay.
If they have to get Wells. They cannot let him go to the Red Sox. If he goes to the Red Sox, the Yankees are in deep trouble.
Why would the Yankees need a blimp? Let Boston have him.
They need another starting pitcher.
Jason Schmidt.
No, I don't want Jason Schmidt.
David Wells doesn't have it anymore, Jerome.
How do you know that?
Look at his record since the All-Star break from a year ago.
Okay, if they can't get him, I don't want Jason Schmidt in here.
Well, that's where we are. What goes around comes around with the conversation.
How about the guy from Montreal?
You're talking about Urbina?
No, Vasquez.
Oh, they're not going to give him up, I don't think, at this point in time.
And
they would get more in return for somebody that good closer to the trading deadline. Go ahead.
Okay. On the relief pitcher, I don't want Urbina here.
Again, closer.
He's not that good.
What are the Yankees going to give? He is good. What are the Yankees going to give Montreal?
I don't know.
Well, you have to think of both sides.
Okay. I disagree with Sweeney also.
By the way, have you been reading Hondo?
No.
Why not?
Listen, Steve.
He's the best writer
I
in
had
town.
a lot of trouble with Channel 1 tonight. They got very nasty with me. Don't get on my bad side.
Oh, Jerome, I'm your friend.
I disagree with Sweeney. They need another right-hand hitter. Because I'm telling you, I don't think Spencer's coming back at all.
Well, you know what I think? Part of the process, I think of...
And I go at, you know who I go after?
Who?
You're not going to get Bonds, at least not this year.
No, that's right.
There was, they had a writer on from one of the stations who writes for the Arizona Press.
Okay.
And he said that Jermaine Dye is on the trading block because they can't afford to pay him.
Well,
I would trade for him in a second and use him as the right-handed DH because then next year when Paul O'Neill retires, you can put him in right field.
Who are the Yankees going to give to Kansas City?
Okay. I'd start with that kid McDonald.
Jermaine Dye is a quality right fielder, offensively and defensively.
So you use him as a part-time DH and a part-time right fielder when you want to rest O'Neill.
Well, interestingly enough, that's more possible. And you're going to hear both sides now on that argument. That if Kansas City wants to unload a Jermaine Dye, the Yankees would be very, very interested.
And they need another starting pitcher.
Well,
I don't care what you say.
No.
They have to go after Wells, because if Boston gets him, we are in trouble.
The Yankees do not need David Wells.
They need another starting pitcher. I'm sick of these rookies coming up. He's going to pitch a rookie on Sunday. That's what Tom McDonald said. And if every time a rookie comes up, he gets creamed.
Jerome.
They need David Wells.
Well, they need a starting pitcher. I'll agree with you on that one. Okay, Jerome has spoken. He's on the warpath with the Yankees, having played the Indians only a little while ago. Jerome does not take losing easily. Jerome is upset, and even when the Yankees win already, Jerome, as you know, will call and complain that the Yankees' victory parade is a long one, and it should be a little bit on the shorter side. Jerome has concerns about the Yankees even losing a single game during the course of the season. You only hope, as I do, that Jerome enjoys, however he is able to do so, enjoys what he has seen the last couple of years, including this season as well, is Yankees playing the kind of baseball that they play. You would hate to see a repeat, any repeat at all, of 1966 come to Yankee Stadium anytime soon, when the Yankees were 70 and 91, when Mel Stottlemyre was not the pitching coach on that team, but a pitcher who lost 20 games. You only hope and pray and wish that that never happens to the New York Yankees, because you wonder how Jerome would take it.
There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
I'm going to say one thing, Steve, and then I'm going to say four other things. That umpire is blind as a bat. And no one is going to tell me that that ball was fair.
Jerome, apparently more than one umpire was consulted. Now, the home plate umpire as the second...
It was a foul ball. Peter Gammon said it. The guy on ESPN said it. It was a foul ball. I don't care what your producer says. I don't care what Rego
Jerome
says. It was a foul ball.
Jerome thinking that Peter Gammons was umpiring at the stadium tonight. We all saw what Peter Gammon saw.
What did you think?
Well, I thought at first, now listen to me out. At first, well, a fat chance of that, but let me get this in if I can, Jerome. At first, and with the second, and third, and fourth replay, to be fair and honest with you, Jerome, I thought it was a foul ball. However, it must have ricocheted off the foul pole.
No, it did not hit the foul pole.
How do you know?
On the side of the line.
How do you know?
Look at that replay. I looked at that replay 3 times. 3 times.
All right, Jerome, all right, calm down for just a second, because In the 4th inning, bases loaded and 1 out. No runs. In the bottom of the 11th.
Yeah, that's because Tito, I'm going to tell you something.
Calm down.
Nick Johnson has to be brought up now. This guy is hitting close to 300 with 10 home runs and 30 RBIs.
All right, Jerome.
Got to get rid of Knobloch. I don't care what it takes to get that guy out of here. They don't get David Wells in here now, and they don't get another setup man and another hitter. They can kiss the season goodbye.
Jerome, bottom of the 11th inning, Bernie Williams leads off with a double. Why wasn't Tino Martinez putting down a bunt? Jerome.
Because he can't bunt, and he can't hit no more.
Well, he can bunt. Maybe it would be nice to see him try in that kind of a situation.
That's why you bring up Nick Johnson.
Yeah, and Nick Johnson would have bunted.
Probably. The guy's got tremendous speed.
All right, relax. There's always a game tomorrow, Jerome.
Yeah, well, you can forget it, because I'm giving up, Steve, and you can tell that to Joe. You can put it in the back. I have had it with this general manager. What is he waiting for? To get a hitter? To get David Wells in here and get another setup man? Their biggest mistake was getting rid of Nelson.
Jerome, you help. Please already. We want Jerome to be with us for like years and years and years already. You worry about with the blood pressure and with the heart palpitating already. Jerome is the only person I know who drinks coffee to calm up. My goodness, Jerome, relax already. It's like 1 loss already. You're 3 games out. It's not the end of the world. You could be 10 games out like your crosstown rivals already. But again, the Yankees going through, and pardon the expression, some Met-itis, not hitting. And so they lose a 2-1, and they're ruling with the umpires already. The ruling had to be, because if you're looking at the 100 replays, they all look the same. You have the pole on the right, and you have the solid yellow line on the left. It looked like it went to the left of the foul pole, over the solid yellow line, foul ball. But it must have hit the foul pole, because that's what the umpires must have ruled, that it ricocheted off the foul pole. Very difficult to see. If you're Peter Gammons, if you're Ray Martell, if you're Steve Summers, if you are Jerome. And here's the bottom line. It was ruled by the umpires to be a fair ball. Game over. Whether it was fair or not, we're never going to know, arguably. But that's what the rule...
I think the Yankees step up their efforts to get Wells.
Who needs David Wells?
They need a pitcher, Steve!
Yeah, you got Jerome.
I don't care. He's 5-5. They need David Wells, and he will be a Yankee. And on some relief pitches, I got a list of them, and I want to know what you think.
All right.
Okay, this guy's from Cincinnati.
Scott Williams?
No, Scott
Sullivan.
Right?
No.
Why not?
Go ahead.
He's got 12 saves.
Go ahead.
Mike Williams, the guy from Pittsburgh.
No.
Jim Messia.
No.
Why not?
Paul Quantrill.
No.
Esteban Yan.
No.
Mike Fetters.
No.
Mike Williams.
That's what I said.
Chad Fox.
I don't know anything about him.
How about Todd Jones?
No. How about Jeff Tam?
Well, there you go.
Which one? And do you think the Yankees are going to go get it back?
Well, I think so, but I mean, apparently they did get a little bit of a bat with Darren Bragg, claimed off waivers from the New York Metropolitans. Yeah, I do think that if the hitting doesn't come around, but now is too early. It certainly was too early for an awful lot of Metropolitan fans to give up, and it is too early to write off the New York Yankees in terms of hitting, although the rumblings from George are there. The concerns are there from George and Torrey, and Yankee fans alike, including that longtime Yankee fan, Jerome from Manhattan. Nonetheless, everyone knows, and it's not any kind of secret, that if the hitting woes continue for the New York Yankees, and certainly what have you done for us lately, 9 runs and getting a lot of hits from Tino Martinez only 24 hours ago, Jerome wanted him on a rail, out of town. But Tino and the rest of the...
Hello, Steve.
Hi, Jerome.
Listen, I was listening to the Yankee game tonight, and Bobby Mercer said there were scouts from the White Sox in the ballpark. You know what that tells me? That tells me Kiesler's going to get traded. Maybe a kid named Jodi, Joppy, and Jimenez, and David Wells will be a Yankee.
And that'll make you happy?
Yes. And as the relief pitcher, I heard that they're after the guy from Cincinnati, Scott Sullivan.
Scott Sullivan? Not Mike Fetters?
Nope.
Not Esteban Yan?
Nope.
Not Paul Quantrill?
Nope.
Not Todd Jones?
Nope.
Not Chad Fox?
Nope.
Not David Weathers?
Nope.
Not Jim Massier?
Nope.
Not Jeff Tam?
Nope.
Not Kevin Falk?
Nope.
Not Bobby Howie?
Nope.
Not Mike Williams?
Nope.
Not Urbina?
Nope. It's going to be Scott Sullivan.
Okay.
And listen...
Because you are now our official inside source.
Yeah. Listen, on another bat, which bat do you think they're going to try to pick up? You know George is going to try to pick up a bat. Now, what's the deal with Knobloch? Is he a free agent next year?
No, I don't think so, Jerome. I can double check on that because with the contracts, I'm always the last to know. They don't know what I make, and I don't care about
and
what they make.
And on the Knicks.
Well, by the way, to answer your question, though, I mean, Knobloch could go. That certainly is so.
Yeah,
but
I read an article in the paper, in the Post, that says they're not sure if he's a free agent or not. This could be his last year.
Well, sure. I mean, yes.
I think they go after Bonds.
Well, I've heard Brian Giles. I mean, Jason Giambi would love to play for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, but I'm not giving up Nick Johnson.
And I think that Bonds is going to become, and I think they're going to do this in a kind of financially creative way, because I think Bonds would like to stay in San Francisco. I think the Giants would like to keep him. I think what they're going to do is set up a trust for Bonds so that when he retires, he becomes a part owner of the San Francisco Giants.
I doubt it. I think he's coming to the Yankees.
He might. I mean, he might. But I will tell you this: he's the major drawing card that they have, and all of those seats that are filled with the turquoises at Pac Bell Park have to have Bonds around. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of empty seats.
Okay, don't cut me off yet.
No, I'm not cutting you off yet. But I mean, the names that I hear already from Brian Giles and Jason Giambi.
I don't want Giambi here now.
You want him now?
No, you'd have to trade Nick Johnson. I'm not going to trade Nick Johnson.
You got to be crazy, Jerome. What? You wouldn't... Nick Johnson, has he played a full season anywhere that you know of?
The guy's hitting .293 right now. I'm not going to trade a young kid like that.
Seriously, Jerome, if you had a chance to trade straight up, I mean, there's always...
It's going to take more than that.
Well, okay, but you wouldn't include for the American League most valuable player a guy that would hit 50 home runs in the Yankees Stadium. What a left-handed batter! You wouldn't include. You wouldn't. What is it?
After Giambi next year.
Jerome,
Giambi's a free agent. You can sign him outright next year.
You want to win? You want to?
I do not touch Joe Smith with a 10-foot pole. The guy I want is Weber, and they have to do anything they can to get Chris Weber in here, even if it means giving up Campy and Houston, or even the guy who played power forward last year in place of Johnson. I do not want Joe Smith near the Knicks.
First of all, for a second there, I thought we were trying to figure out where Chris Weber was going to play for the Yankees. Hold on just a second, Jerome. I need your prediction. Friday night, Al Leiter, New York Mets versus Andy Pettitte. Who wins?
Yankees going to sweep your Mets. You're going to be crying. Just like you did last year when we beat you. Just like you did last year.
Jerome.
You're going down. Down. You
Jerome.
can play caps for the Mets. Play caps. And for the Boston Red Sox, you can play caps too, because they're going to get swept by the lonely Braves, because Pedro's not pitching, and the Yankees will be in first place by the time the weekend is over.
Jerome,
and I'm going to laugh in Martell's face so you can tell him his Red Sox are finished now that Garcia Parra is not going to be back.
So who do you like?
And I put it in the bank. The Yankees will get a reliever. David Wells will be here, and they will get another big bat. And when that happens, I'm going to laugh in all your Met faces when they sweep the Mets.
So
like they did last time.
So who do you like in Game 2?
Pitch it.
Hey, Jerome, you know, you can stay a Yankee fan for another year now that the Yankees are getting all these guys. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Joe couldn't wait another 8 minutes.
Joe!
Joe can respond to Norman Bates. But Jerome's another story. It's like I'm talking to Norman
tell
Bates.
him on the Knicks, I do not want to touch Joe Smith with a 10-foot pole.
Jerome,
don't worry about it. You won't have to. Go to the Timberwolves. How's that?
Jerome, are you a fan of Alfred Hitchcock?
No!
Jerome.
Those are my predictions. The Mets, Joe and you are going to be crying on Sunday when the Yankees sweep the Mets 3 in a row, and the Mets will be out of the playoffs for the first time in a couple of years.
Jerome, I thank you for calling, I think. But here's the interesting thing. I'm almost at the point where I would want the Yankees to win just so Jerome can live through the weekend. God forbid now the Mets win a game. The Mets. Well, let me think about what I just said. I said, the Mets. The Mets. Ray, the Mets. They're going to win a game against the Yankees? No, of course not. But Jerome, with the blood pressure and the heart palpitating and with the sweating on the forehead, could he take a Metropolitan win over the Bronx Bombers of the 3 they play this weekend? Al is calling from Brooklyn, New York.
What's up, Jerome? Another double shot of Prozac to go. How are you there, my points?
Okay.
I am giving up with this Yankee team. I do not want to see any more rookies pitching for the Yankees. Every time they bring up a rookie, he gets creamed. I'm not going to even watch the game tomorrow.
Yes, you will.
I will not, because El Duquecito, like one of the callers said, he is going to get bombed. And I'm going to tell you several reasons why the Yankees will not make the playoffs. And you can you can even tell it to Joe.
Go ahead.
First of all, they need a starting pitcher. They need a reliever. And they need another bat. I am sick of Tito. I'm sick of Paul O'Neill. Both of those guys got to go.
Jerome, they're only 2.5.
I don't care if they're 2.5. They keep losing these one-run games, and they keep putting stupid rookies in who can't pitch.
Jerome, who really did a poor job for the Yankees last night?
Everybody.
No, not everybody. I mean,
Tito did too. He hits into a double play when they're down 3-1.
Yes.
I am sick of Tito. It's time for Nick Johnson. I don't care what his stats are. Bring him up.
Jerome, the Yankee pitcher who you have loved over...
I don't like Kiesler. I've never liked this guy.
No, I'm talking about Mendoza. He was the one hit harder than Randy Kiesler, who certainly, yes, nobody is saying in his 6 innings with the 8 hits and the 2
They need a starting pitcher, and they better not let Wells go to Boston, because if he goes to Boston, you can forget it. The Red Sox will win the division.
Well, the Red Sox are not going to win the division, although it is unbelievable how close the Red Sox came to their second no-hitter. Everyone knows from Nomo back in April. And here was Tim Wakefield a couple of hours ago taking a no-hitter into the 9th inning against Tampa Bay, and then Tyler, of course, leading off with a ground ball to second base, and Offerman throws wide to Dahlbeck over at first. That was correctly ruled an error. Randy Wynn getting the first hit off of Wakefield. By the time that bottom of the 9th inning was over in Tampa Bay, they had scored 4 times. Steve Cox coming within a couple of inches of hitting a 3-run home run that would have tied the game at 5. In that bottom of the 9th inning, his drive hit the top of the wall, came that close to going over the wall. 2 would score to make it 5-4. That ended up to be the final. The Red Sox, and this Friday, by the way, for the Red Sox, Nomar Garciaparra begins rehab in terms of working out with the team. So apparently he's either a little ahead of schedule
Picture a man sitting alone in his room.
You cannot even wait for your introduction to end.
I'm going to take a stab at Brian Cashman here.
Wait a second, he likes you.
I'm going to take a big stab at him.
He still likes you.
I was listening to Mike and Chris today.
So
he says he's not going after another starting pitcher.
He's not going after
They
what?
only have 3 pitchers on this team. Clemens, Messina, and if Pettit hadn't gotten hurt, 3 pitchers. They need another starting pitcher. You cannot go with kids in a pennant race.
But I think number one...
And they need to get rid of stinking Tito.
Jerome, where are you calling from?
My phone.
It's where?
My phone in my bedroom.
It sounds like your bedroom is on the freeway.
Yeah, my voice is on the freeway. And I'm going to tell you something. Cashman better move his butt and move it now and get me and get rid of Tito Martinez and bring up Nick Johnson. You know what Nick Johnson is hitting now?
No, Nick Johnson is going to be used in a trade. If they're going to go and get that starter...
No, he won't.
I'll tell you what.
I want to get rid of Tito and bring up Nick Johnson.
Okay, now Jerome has spoken already, and we worry about his health once again. If by chance the Oakland A's, who are like 1,000 games out of first place because of the way Seattle plays baseball, if they decide to unload Jason Giambi, it could be that a Nick Johnson will be involved in such a deal with the Oakland A's. Jerome has to be aware, as I'm sure a number of Yankee fans are, be patient. Wait at least 5 more minutes before you pull the trigger and panic and get crazy, because the Yankees are only 3.5 games out, only 3.5 behind a Boston team that soon enough is going to get Nomar Garcia-Parra back. We have a race in the American League Eastern Division at 11:21, and we also have a 2020 and a flash and an update in the whole thing with Don LaGreca.
WFAN 2020 Sports.
The pitch to Cedeno is off.
How are you?
Okay, no, only once a night already. Well, maybe that was a Jerome imitator. And if you're going to imitate Jerome, you got to do a better job than that already.
Mind. There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Jerome.
You know, I go out this morning, I pick up the New York Post, and I turn to a page that has Astasio coming to the Yankees for Soriano and Mendoza. Are they stupid? Are they dumb? No way do I trade Mendoza.
In other words,
or I trade Soriano.
In other words,
or Astasio.
Uh-huh.
You cannot trade Soriano. First of all, you don't put Knobloch back at second, because that's what they're going to have to do if they do that. You lose a lot out of your bullpen.
Jerome,
they're looking for bullpen help in the first place.
Jerome,
and I don't want Todd Jones here.
Well, who do you want?
I don't know.
Well,
but he better make a move for another pitcher. He better make a move for another right-handed reliever.
How about Mike Williams?
Yeah, but I don't want that. I don't want Schmidt. He got bombed tonight.
I didn't mention him. What? And you better think of somebody, otherwise Brian Cashman can't make a move.
And they got no power at first. They got no power. I do know George is going to want a big name.
Jerome, let me ask you a question. And this will interrupt the monologue for only a second. And then you can start another monologue if you'd like. Do you think when Tino Martinez got hit by Armando Benitez, Martinez has not been the same since? Do you
know how Nick Johnson's doing?
Well, do you think getting hit by Benitez was the sole factor in the downward spiral of Tino Martinez?
Yeah, maybe.
And you're not going to see Nick Johnson if the Yankees make some kind of a play for Jason Giambi.
Yeah, but they're going to have to give up.
Let me try and sum up.
I'd wait till next year and bring up Nick Johnson. That's the future right there. What's he hitting right now? Do you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, Jerome, we're going to let you go and maybe try and answer some of the questions that you have about the New York Yankees.
Mention of sight, of sound, but of no mind. There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
Hello, Steve.
Jerome, how are you?
Okay.
Did we have a bet on the David Robinson situation?
Yeah, forget it. I don't want to even talk about the stupid Knicks. Let's talk about the Yankees.
All right, but you owe me now.
What do I owe you?
Dinner.
I'm going to be going away.
I heard you with Francesa this afternoon say the same thing to him. Where are you going?
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yep, I'm going to go on a vacation at the end of September.
Okay, are you going to go skiing?
No, I'm going to go to the amusement park.
Okay.
Going to be staying with that friend of mine who
okay, but
has a house out there.
All right, but you do know about David Robinson signing a new 2-year deal with San Antonio.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. You heard, I don't know if you heard this, but on most of the stations, you know, at the All-Star game, they interviewed Mr. Jason Giambi.
All right.
And he
wants to play for the Yankees.
And he has now
it's old news.
turned $90 million for 6 years. George, if you are listening, after that performance by that Yankee offense when they had second and third with nobody out and they can't score 2 runs, and then they have first and second with Tito coming up and he can't get one stinking hit.
So basically what you're saying, Jerome, had converted with those scoring opportunities, they would have lost, say, maybe 9-7?
Exactly.
That isn't why the Yankees lost tonight, although it didn't help, of course. Mike Mussina didn't have it.
True. But they need another hitter.
And, well, Jason
Giambi is the perfect guy. I don't care if you have to give up Nick Johnson, but I'm not giving up Soriano. You give up and Nick Johnson.
Well, Knicks. His is a dimension of sight, of sound, but of no mind. There's a rubber room up ahead. You're entering the Jerome Zone.
Steve, I want to talk about Mr. Cashman here.
Okay.
I am sick of having rookies in this station. They have to go out and get another pitcher. And they need another hitter, either Giambi or Jermaine Dye. This team is pathetic. Pathetic. Second and third on Thursday night.
Go ahead.
Can't get one hit. And Tito with first and second grounds out.
Jerome, wouldn't you say that Kiesler, on the one hand, and Ted Lilly, who didn't have it tonight, have, for the most part...
No! I want another pitcher, Steve! They're garbage! They're garbage! And if he thinks he's going to beat the Red Sox out with those pieces of... he's mistaken.
Now, would you say that one of the major problems outside of Yankee pitching was Yankee defense tonight, not hitting with runners in scoring position? They left 16 men on base, Jerome.
They did that the first half.
And they left 8 men in scoring position tonight.
You got to get Giambi in here or some big papa.
Well, you can't get Giambi if Oakland and probably keep him for this season.
So go after Jermaine Dye. You don't bring in stinking General Williams, who can't hit his way out of a bag. I'm going to tell you something, Steve. If they don't go out and get Pedro Eustacio and he ends up in Boston, the Yankees will be in deep, hot water if they keep pitching these stinking rookies. I am tired of Lilly. I'm tired of Kiesler. Not even be on this damn...
All right, now hold on a second. What about Mike Mussina 24 hours ago? He only won 2 innings.
That's because they couldn't score any goddamn runs. And it's time to panic, Steve. I'm telling you.
It's not time, Jerome.
We have 2 weeks to the trading deadline.
Jerome.
Every time Cashman comes on the damn radio, he says he's not going to make a move. Let me tell you something. After those 2 displays, George better make a move for a goddamn hitter and a damn pitcher.
6 games in with Mulder. I mean, the guys they're going to get rid of arguably before July 31 is Ringhausen and Johnny Damon, but they'll hold on to Giambi as they try and make a wild card run. Shep is on the...
Yeah.
Watch, you don't even say hello. How's the family?
Everything is fine, Steve, but I am taking
I was talking about... No, wait a minute. Wait. I was talking about me. Yeah, me, yeah.
How's your family?
Fine.
I'm taking a shot at Cashman here.
Okay.
Every time I hear him on the damn radio, Steve, with Susan or with anybody else, he says he's got enough pitching. Let me tell you something.
Well, hold on before. Wait a minute.
A starter. They got to get a reliever, and they have to get a hitter. I don't care who the hitter is. Giambi, McGriff, Anderson from California. This team is not making the playoffs if he doesn't make a move.
Well, wait a second, Jerome. Is Jerome still with us?
I'm still here.
Jerome, this Brett Jody, who you were calling Joppy, maybe Brian Cashman was listening to you as he did with Robert Perez.
Why don't you go after Sterling Hitchcock?
Didn't you want this guy Jody to come and start for your Yankees?
No, I want him to get another pitcher.
You wanted Jody, and now you had him tonight. Aren't you going to give him another chance?
No! I'm sick of rookies. I'm sick of Kiesler. I'm sick of Lilly. And I'm sick of this rookie who came up. I'm telling you, Steve, this team is not making the playoffs if they don't get another pitcher, another reliever, and another hitter. I'm sick of Tito. Bring up Nick Johnson. He's hitting over 300 with 15 home runs and 26 RBI.
Where are you going to play him?
Bring him up.
Where are you going to play him?
DH or first base. If they wait until Justice comes back, who is finished, I'm telling you, this team is not gonna make the playoffs.
Now wait a second. What, did he go? Is that it for Jerome left? Before even thinking that maybe Dave Justice coming back might help. Before even thinking that El Duque coming back.
Steve, I am not a happy Yankee fan tonight.
They won, Jerome.
I know they won. I want to talk about Brian Cashman here.
All right.
Hey, turn off that song, because I'm not in a good mood.
Well, see, as soon as you say that, you get Ray Martell on the other side of the glass, who's a big Red Sox fan.
What is Cashman doing letting Jermaine Dye go to Oakland? Now they're going to win the World Series.
Will you stop? What, there's another...
They need or not. When is he going to realize that Justice is injured more than they're saying? I read an article today that Justice is not even taking batting practice now.
Would you take Dimitri Young?
No. Cincinnati said they're not going to trade him.
Would you take... Well, you don't know if that's... no, that's very possible. Dimitri Young could be gone. Sean Casey could be gone. Pokey Reese could be gone.
They need a bat for the outfield. Who's going to replace O'Neill next year? Who's going to replace Knobloch?
Would you... Listen for a second, Jerome. Would you take a Shannon Stewart or a Jose Cruz?
Yeah, but what would they have to give up?
Well, you have to think about that. How about prospects?
You know,
how about cash?
I'm going to tell you something. They got a kid who's going to replace Knobloch next year. And I'm going to give you his name. His name is Wayne Rivera. He's hitting 340, 25 home runs, 46 RBIs, and 42 steals.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Who is going to replace Paul O'Neill? That's why I wanted them to get Jermaine Dye. That's ridiculous. And I don't want Cedeno here. I want a guy with speed in left field, and I want another designated hitter next year, and they have to go after Giambi next year.
I think you're going to get him.
And on the pitching staff, I am sick of Sweeney saying that we don't need another starter. Lilly is not the answer. I'm sick of Kiesler.
Would you take Woody Williams?
Yes.
Would you take Sterling Hitchcock?
Yes.
Would you take Jeff Suppan?
I don't think Kansas City would trade us.
Yeah, he's available. Would you take James Baldwin?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so
and there's another one you forgot. Darren Oliver. And I think they need to fix that bullpen. I don't like Witosik and I don't like Wallace.
Would you take Jose Mercedes?
No. I would take Ponson.
All right. Well, I don't think Ponson is going to be available because he makes the kind of money.
When is he going to move to get another Ben here? Justice is not the answer, even if Justice comes back. The guy's hitting 245.
Jerome, you're going to have to settle for getting Jason Giambi in the offseason. But Brian Cashman listens to you. He listened to you about Robert Perez. He will listen to you about all of these things as well. I'm sure that Brian Cashman will work something out for the New York Yankees. 718-937-6666. Jerome, of course, alluding to what was reported earlier, or actually later last night on ESPN with the Baseball Tonight and Dave Campbell. Dye going to Oakland. Jose Ortiz, the young Oakland infielder, going to Colorado, and Nefi Perez going to Kansas City. Arguably,
and I think Susan even said it. She said it because Posada's having trouble with his shoulder. Because I noticed something. He double clutches all the time. And next year, I do not want to see Knobloch here. They have to go out and get a leadoff hitter. What do you think?
Yeah, Knobloch would probably be gone. They need a left fielder. They need a right fielder. They need a leadoff hitter. That means there's no room at the end for Chuck Knobloch. And by the way, you know, it's always an excuse that we hear, not just from anybody on this side of the microphone or your side of the microphone, but all the excuses. If Clemens loses a game, Jerome, we hear that something's not right with the shoulder or the arm. If Posada throws one away,
because he double clutches all the time, and I noticed that.
Well, you know what? When he double clutches and he throws to second base on a fly, nobody winces. Nobody says anything. But if he doesn't get somebody,
no. But Susan and the guys on the TV thinks that
I don't buy it. I really don't buy it, Jerome. I mean, if he's healthy enough to play and he can throw. Jerome was a little bit unhappy about the third base situation with Scott Brocious being out. Not happy with Enrique Wilson is Jerome. Not happy with Luis Sojo is Jerome. Not happy with Clay Bellinger is Jerome. There was a moment a little while ago where Jerome had to be happy with Clay Bellinger because of this.
It'll be a 1-0.
Ahead, you're entering the Jerome Zone.
I'm going to sing a song.
Go ahead.
Turn out the lights. The party's over for the Red Sox. Stick a fork in them. They are done.
Did you actually entertain the idea during the course of this regular season, Jerome, that Boston might overtake the Yankees?
I was a little worried, but I'm confident.
How could you be worried when you knew that Pedro Martinez was out, that Garcia Pera had missed most of the season, no Valentin, no
And I don't
Veritek?
think he's going to be back.
Probably not.
And listen, I got a question for you. There was an article in the paper today. Did you see it on getting C.J. Nikowski?
I saw that. And I saw that.
And there's also a rumor going around that definitely going to make a trade with Texas for Velarde.
Then get Randy Velarde back?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
Bench.
Well, by the way, I want to let you know that Drew Henson hit his 9th home run for Columbus just a little while ago.
What's he hitting now?
I don't have the batting average. All I saw on the internet was...
he's a $14 million bust.
Well, wait just a second. He's a young kid.
I don't care if he's 21. I want to go after Scott Rowland. And what are the chances of the Yankees getting Giambi? I think Giambi possibly comes here or he goes back to Oakland. Because Joe Sherman was on the TV tonight.
Right.
He said the Mets might trade Zio, Traxel, and another prospect to get Mo Vaughn.
Well, let's hope that Anaheim would do that. That would be a great move for the Mets. There's no question about it.
And I think Giambi possibly comes here, and I think the Yankees go after Scott Rowland. And which outfield do you think they get for left field? Stewart or Roger Cedeno? Because I know you saw that article on Roger Cedeno a couple of weeks ago.
Wouldn't you rather have a Lou?
No, he's too old.
Not really.
He's too old. I don't want no 35-year-old ball player.
How about Tino Martinez at first?
I don't think they're going to keep him. If he doesn't have a good player, I think Giambi comes to the Yankees.
Well, I think that's very possible, too. I really do.
And who replaces El Duque?
Who replaces who?
El Duque. Because I don't think he's going to be back. I got two names to look out for next year.
Yeah.
Alex Graham, and Susan mentioned his name the other day.
Yeah.
Brad Claston. And could you tell me something about the two Yankees that they're bringing up on Saturday? The kid
Rivera,
who's supposed to be an excellent ball player.
27 home runs when you combine double and triple A.
Right, and the kid Amante.
You're right, exactly. And he's hitting about 290, I believe. I can try and find some
Do you know
numbers.
if he plays third base or not, Steve? If you can find out that for me, I'll sit and listen. And the Red Sox are done. After this weekend, they're going to be crying in their shoes. Clemens is going to pitch a shutout, and Pedro's going to get beat. Cone's going to get beat. And then when we have a 10-game lead, and when they come into the stadium, they're going to get beat again because I'm going on Saturday.
I get the impression that Jerome is going to have himself a terrific weekend. I don't know about Doris from Rego Park.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Doris.
Okay.
I get the feeling, looking at Drew Henson, who's hitting only 220 now, right? I have a feeling they think they made a mistake. I'm going to tell you a scenario. Now that the Phillies are doing so bad, and we know that Scott Rowland wants out of there.
Well, remember this about Scott Rowland. He's arbitration eligible after this year, meaning he belongs to the Phillies, and they can tender him an offer. And then number two...
What if he turns it down and they have to be traded?
Well, that's a possibility. And then, of course, he would become the free agent after 2002.
Well, I think they end up trading for him. Okay. Number two. Somebody told me that there was an article in one of the papers. I don't know. My friend told me this, that the Mets are looking at Tito Martinez. And if that's the case, and I don't think Nick Johnson is the answer, I think we're going to see Giambi here. I don't think he's going back to Oakland. He already turned down a contract, and you know George, he's going to be wanting a big name. And as a left fielder, I heard something on Peter Gammons tonight that he said that Manny Marias wants out of Boston. Now, do you think George would make a trade with Boston to get Manny in here to play left field?
No. And do you really think, Jerome, that Boston would trade Ramirez to the Yankees?
I don't know. They're going to have a new GM.
Doesn't
matter. And you see what Pedro said?
No, it doesn't matter.
Did you see what Pedro said tonight?
What did Pedro say?
He said he's mad at the GM because they're making him pitch because he has a rotator cuff. Do you remember when Jimmy Key did the same thing to his arm? And then he went for an operation, and then the Yankees weren't able to pitch him in the playoffs, and they lost the World Series that one year. And then they came back the following year, and they won the World Series with Jimmy Key. You know, they're stupid. You could ruin your arm like that.
First of all, Duquette, if he indeed pitches Martinez the rest of the way, ought to be fired for that. And certainly, he ought to be fired.
And he said he ripped up the check. You know what he told Duquette? You can take your money and stick it.
Well, Dan Duquette, it's almost as if he has a death wish in terms of his job.
Garcia Paris said he doesn't want to even play there anymore. Why would people want to play there when that team is in such disarray?
Well, I'll tell you this, Jerome, and you could start with, if you want to talk a little bit about Dan Duquette here. Dan Duquette for getting rid of Jimmy Williams.
And who goes in the leadoff spot, you think, next year? Who replaces Knobloch, Stewart or Cedeno?
Well, it depends on if they get either of those two players. How about Derek Jeter in the leadoff spot?
No, I'd rather have him batting second.
Sure. Understandable. But he certainly has been
Cedeno?
Well, listen, I don't know if they're going to pick up Cedeno. Certainly, Jason Giambi is certainly a very doable. And I think if he does leave Oakland, yes, I can see Giambi with the Yankees. I'll tell you something, Jerome. If the Oakland A's upset the Yankees in the postseason and win themselves, lo and behold, the World Series, I'll bet you Giambi stays in Oakland.
I don't think he's staying there. He said he don't want to stay there. He wants $120 million. How are they going to afford all three of those players? They want to re-sign Dye. They have to re-sign Damon. They have to re-sign Isenhausen. How are they going to sign $120 million for 5 years?
Damon and Isenhausen aren't going to be around. And
but that's not what the owner said. The owner said he is not re-signing Giambi.
Well,
Giambi wants out. And
well, I don't know.
If you're listening, I'm telling you right now, I guarantee you, Steve, Giambi will be a New York Yankee. Either Stewart or Cedeno will be in left field.
Well, we'll see, Jerome. I mean,
and O'Neill gets replaced by that kid that they brought up today, Rivera.
Yeah, Juan Rivera. Well, I'll tell you something. It's very possible, Jerome. I certainly wouldn't be surprised. And when you get yourself to Colorado, try to call us from there if you can. 718-937-6666 is the number to call. Steve Summers here and you there, Ray Martell on the other side of the glass.